Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King 3, and today I'm going to be giving you part 5 of What If Naruto Soul was taken by the Shinigami. Remember to get this one to 100 likes as usual, share this to all of your friends in your social media platform, and also guys, stay in tune for the rest of the what ifs coming your way over Anime King and Anime King 2. If you're new, yes, you heard that correctly. I indeed have 3 channels, Anime King, Anime King 2, and Anime King 3, which I post what if on every single day for you guys to enjoy. So remember to go ahead, click that red subscribe button, and become part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and your support. Remember to comment down below and tell me if you're new. I'll be replying talking back to all of you. So yeah, without further ado, what do you say begin this new episode? Start the intro. So, the last spot we left off. News spread around the elemental nation that the Limitless was brought back to life. The Raikage was pissed off. Everyone knew that peace did not last forever. And now that the Limitless was brought back, well, Konoha's strength just bulked up. As the Tishikage Oniki was also fierce as well, as he couldn't understand how was this possible. That man has been dead for the last 12 years, and now he just suddenly popped back up. No explanation, no one talking about how it really happened. He wanted answers. All of them did. As Naruto was back at the village, as he was speaking to Inoichi, as Naruto told him about his experience while he was in the stomach of the Shinigami, about how the dead god would like to taunt him to make him believe that he was back home. Even now, he kind of feel that this was not real. How his friendship with Kurama went. They spoke for a few hours, as Inoichi believed that Naruto was progressing good. Usually, people refuse to talk about what is bothering them, but Naruto is telling him everything straightforward. So he believed that he can help Naruto quickly. But until he gave the go-ahead to Minato, Naruto was not going to go on any missions. Something that really bummed him out. As he went to say hello to Inoichi's wife, he ran into Ino as he met their daughter, as he knew the man's wife very well. After which, Kakashi and Asuma was speaking as Naruto arrived. As the way he came in, it seemed like he was about to attack Asuma, but he wasn't though. As he asked him what they've been up to since he was gone. As they spoke, Asuma feeling a bit on edge, knowing the kind of person that Naruto is. As usually he solved things with his fists, as Kakashi wanted no part of that. Guy arrived on the scene though, as he started to fight Naruto. One of his youthful rivals has returned, as they fought. As Guy pulled him into a big bear hug, happy that he was back. As Naruto then saw Lee shocked him. As Guy went off, Naruto asked Kakashi if he was sure that Guy did not sleep with a woman a long time ago, and the kid was the result. Seeing that Guy had a hard time remembering faces, the group was surprised they realized that Naruto might be onto something. After which, Naruto made his way to go and find Sasuke, one of the last Uchihas left in Konoha, as he told him he knew his brother. As Naruto was still not convinced that Itachi, the sweet kid Itachi, would do something like this. But people can change. He come to realize that. But he wanted answers. He wanted to understand why Itachi did this. As he spoke to Sasuke, Sasuke has been carrying around that pit in his stomach for a long while now, even though Kushina had brought him into her home, showing him a love that a mother shows a child. He was still angry, and now this man was here, offering to help him find and get revenge on his brother. So he accepted, as Naruto also wanted answers as well. As Naruto made his way to Minato's office afterwards, as they sat down and talked, as Minato decided to fill Naruto in on a few things that he doesn't know about since he'd been gone. But he told him that he would not send him out on any missions until Inoichi gave him the go-ahead, as Naruto already figured that much. So yeah guys, was basically as we left off. You guys can switch across the place to check out for yourself. So yeah, what do you say, begin this new episode? We begin this new episode at the Hokage's office, as Minato was sitting behind his desk as Inoichi sat in front of it. Minato was looking over a file. "Are you sure?" said Minato. It has been 1 month since Naruto had started to go to his therapy sessions. Given all that he's been through, I'm surprised that it happened this quick, but I can assure you that my data is 100% correct. It seems there is no lasting effects. So, I gave him the clear to go ahead and start taking missions once again, said Inoichi. A small smirk came on Minato's face. "Well, he will be happy to hear this," he said. "I'm surprised that he's not here," said Inoichi. "Oh, he's given Kakashi some time off," said Minato. Meanwhile, as Kakashi was currently sitting down under a tree, his book in hand, the man was at complete peace and calm. The reason being, Naruto has taken over his duty as being a sensei. Well, not officially, but Naruto had a higher affinity in lightning than him. So he pawned Sasuke off to Naruto. And also, Mito was his niece, so there was no doubt that he wanted to train her. As for Sakura, the third member of their team, Kakashi looked up to see Naruto bringing her over, as the girl was unconscious. He placed her down beside the man. "Don't you think you're working a bit too hard?" said Kakashi, as Naruto rested Sakura against a tree. She was asleep, well, exhausted, and she fell asleep. "Don't you think that you've gotten a bit too lazy?" said Naruto. Touché, said Kakashi, as Naruto shook his head. "That book is not healthy, you know," he said. "This book is a work of art," said Kakashi. "Maybe you should take up a few copies." "Oh, I've read it," said Naruto. You have?" "Yes." "It's been like a month, Kakashi," said Naruto. "I have no idea why you're still reading that one book. I've read through it, I must say. It's a bit on the steamy side, but it has no plot development or anything. Just unbridled sex. And that kind of get boring," said Naruto. "It seems you can't appreciate true art," said Kakashi. "And you're reading it over and over. You know that is a definition for crazy, right?" "And insane." "What do you mean?" said Kakashi. "Well, a man doing something over and over again, thinking that the result will change. That is the definition of crazy and insane. And you reading that book over and over again, thinking that perhaps the ending or the writing might change. It seems like you've gone insane." "Perhaps," said Kakashi. "But with a work like this, it must always be studied." As Naruto shook his head before he got back up. "How is she coming along?" said Kakashi, as he glanced towards Sakura. "Well, she has impeccable chakra control, but her reserves are quite low. So that is the reason I'm making her extend them," said Naruto. "But she gets tired awfully fast." "You know," said Kakashi, "you could just become a Jonin sensei and take them off my hands until they become full Chunins. For you to be lazing around," said Naruto. "You know, once I get the AOK from the Hokage, that I'll be back taking missions, right?" "Yeah." "Ashamed," said Kakashi. "Ashamed," said Naruto. "You're that lazy. You want me to remain in the village and take care of your students?" "Well, you're a lot better than me," said Kakashi. "And given your high affinity for lightning, you are a big help to Sasuke. And not to mention, you also have a affinity for Win. And you can help me too a lot. And you're coming along great with soccer. It's basically like you're the ideal teacher. You can sweeten the pot all you like, said Naruto. Until they become chunins, you're gonna retake back your students and teach them. As Kakashi sighed, when is the chunin test anyway, he asks, given that the recent one was a bust. I'm not sure what Minato's gonna do, but there was a lot to do after the failed invasion after all. He went to go and spoke with the San. Seems that they were unaware that they were being tricked by Orochimaru. He figured that they weren't lying, and to keep the peace, he's not gonna judge them too hard. So the San and Konoha are still allies. So I'm sure that he will be going over the documents of the Chunin exams and decide who will become Chunin with a mere selection, said Naruto. Well, that is good, said Kakashi. Good that you won't have to be a teacher for too long. Exactly, the man says. He opened his book. As Naruto sighed, meanwhile, out in the field, Sasuke frowned in annoyance. This is impossible, he said, as Sasuke had a leaf in his hand that was burned really badly. The goal was to burn a hole in the center of the leaf without burning it completely with his chakra alone. The first step of his fire manipulation. Then they move on to lightning. He's been at this for a few days now, and he still hasn't reached anywhere yet. Over to the other side, Mito was sitting down as she had a leaf in her hand, as her task was to split it with her chakra, as she already had the top corner cut. But she must split it straight down the middle, which was harder than it looks. As Naruto stood there watching over the both of them, until a Anfu flashed beside him. He whispered something in the blonde's ear. As Naruto nodded, before he clapped his hand drawing their attention, I've been summoned, so keep on working on those until I return, he said. Don't worry, you guys will get there. After saying that, he vanished. As Mito got to her feet, she walked over to Kakashi, who looked up from his book. Kakashi-sensei, any tips, she asked. Huh, he said. I want to finish it before you come back. I know it's a hard task, so do you have any tips that you can give me? Said Kakashi. Meanwhile, in the Hokage's office, as Naruto arrived as he walked through the door, he sat down as Minato tossed him a file, as Naruto caught it. Finally, I was wondering when he was going to give me the A-OK. As Minato tossed Naruto something as Naruto caught in his hand, it was a headband. As Naruto looked at the metal on the plate, as his eyes reflected on it. Now that you're back on official duty, I don't want to rush you into anything. Come on, Minato, said Naruto. You had me cooped up for the last month, not going on a single mission. Yes, it was fun and all, reuniting with everyone, spending time with Kushina and the family. But I'm a ninja, said Naruto. It's in my blood. I suppose you're right, said Minato. As Naruto saw a file, labeled Kiri. As he picked it up, what's this? That's the whole dealing going on in Kiri, said Minato. Yeah, you told me that there was some civil war there. You know, you never elaborate too much on that. Well, Konoha decided not to get involved. You mean you decided, said Naruto. Exactly, said Minato. What exactly is happening there, said Naruto. Well, you know Yagura, correct? Of course, said Naruto. Well, after being selected, Mizukage, things was smooth for a while until Jiraiya's spies informed him that the man started to kill and execute bloodline holders. What, said Naruto? Are you serious? Minato nodded. But Kiri has the most bloodline out of every other nation. That is so much people. We still don't have a cause for why the man is doing this. Some time ago, a few years to be exact, there was a envoy sent from Kiri. I was notified that there was a rebel group. They were asking for assistance to take down Yagura. You declined, said Naruto. Yes, said Minato. Kumo and Yagura was in dealings while the civil war was going on. Yagura refused to let it affect his economy, while the rebels are trying to strike him from every opportunity area. He went on about his daily business, letting some of his lesser forces handle the threat of the rebels. They didn't have that manpower until a few years ago. when more and more of the bloodline holders start to flee quickly as possible, and they start to join up with the rebels. Now they have a full-scale war on their hands, but Yagra still has the envoys, and his loyalists on his side. From what Jiraiya has told me recently, he's still alive, but the war is getting closer and closer. The rebels are truly becoming a threat. As he watched Naruto, "What would you have done in my place?" he said. The exact same thing, said Naruto. "We couldn't have sent Konoha forces there to help out these rebels unknowing of their stature and power in this war. You might have nearly started a war with Kiri and Kumo at the same time. And none of us would like that." "Exactly," said Minato. "So I made the choice of not interfering, but the rebels are getting more and more weaker out there. Most of Yagra forces are being pushed back, but at the cost of so many rebel life. A few months ago I heard that Kumo has pulled their support from Yagra because of his slowly crumbling empire. You and I both know what's gonna happen if Yagra managed to wipe out all the rebels and he's weakened after this war." "Subjugation," said Naruto. "Exactly," said Minato. "Kumo decided to cut their losses because they realized that Yagra was losing too much. They decide to benefit on what exactly is going on. I'm sure by now the Raikage has a full map out of Yagra entire village. After all, he let his ninjas in there. So the only thing that they're waiting on right now is for Yagra to handle the rebels and lose as many forces as possible so they can sweep in and commandeer Kumo for themselves. And I'm sure after going through a civil war like that, even the loyalists will not stand anymore after their Mizukage fall. And not to mention he's a Jinchuriki. Kumo will be going directly after him. And that will strengthen their power by a lot," said Minato. Naruto got up as he moved towards the map that was on the wall. The map of the elemental nation. There's two ways that this can go down. Either Kumo get control of the rest of Kiri once they win or lose this war, because the rebels will not stand a chance even if they win. Kumo forces will annihilate them. I doubt they will be able to stand up to one Jinchuriki after this war is ended. As Minato got up and moved towards the map as well. As Naruto then pointed towards where the hidden stone was. "As for the stone, how have they been going?" "They've been awfully quiet," said Minato. "They have made no sounds since the end of the Third Great Shinobi War. No squabbles, nothing at all." "Is that so?" "Well, they're definitely up to something." "Has Jiraiya not get anything on them?" "No. They have been completely quiet. Even a spy in the hidden stone cannot pick up on anything." "Well, that's interesting," said Naruto. "We know that the sand is not going to be involved, because recently you saw what their village is worth, and they wouldn't be joining a war anytime soon. But we all know that Kumo has the most manpower to spare. While not as strong as Konoha shinobis, they have more ninjas to spare. And with their overwhelming forces, and not to mention their perfect Jinchuriki, I doubt they will stop. So if they take the sea, and manage to convince the water daimyo to hand over his funding to them, and slowly establish Kiri into part of their society," as Naruto pointed towards where Kiri and Kumo was, Konoha would be snap dab in the middle if anything were to happen. "Exactly," said Minato. As Minato looked at Naruto, Shikaku and Naruto came up with this exact same way, as all of them could see how things were going to play out soon if they do not intervene. It might not look it, but Kumo was trying to gather forces. "But," said Naruto, "if we decide to intervene and help Kiri win this war and show our face there, publicly, Kumo will not dare to make a step towards them. After all, they already show that their position lie with the Mizukage before they draw their forces, so we will have to side with the rebels." "That is exactly what I was thinking," said Minato. "But given the recent olive branch that they lined out for help and receiving none." "Oh, trust me," said Naruto. I doubt any other nation came to their aid. You must have searched up about that. Well, they didn't receive any help from any major nation. It seems like the stone and the sand. Well, the sand hasn't even brought up the issue. It seems that the stone has already seen what Kumo is doing. And they still decide to play quiet. I'm not sure what Oniki is doing, but he's not getting involved. Well then, said Naruto, we can't allow Kumo to do this. I don't know what is happening with Yagura, but any decent leader would see what Kumo is doing. But if the man is going around slaughtering his own people, I doubt that he's a sane one, said Naruto. So, I guess this will be my first mission, huh? I told you I want to ease you into things, not just send you into a civil war the moment that you're back on the field. Come on, Minato, said Naruto as he sat down. I know you. You wouldn't even consider this unless you have spoken to the Fire Daimyo, and he has spoken to the Water Daimyo, so out with it already. Is he lending his support to Yagura? Minato sat down as he sighed. Well, firstly, the Water Daimyo wants the civil war to be over, as he has came to the realization that the village is just getting weaker and weaker with the two of them fighting against each other. But Yagura has made it abundantly clear if he was to draw his support from him and ever think of lending the rebel their aid, he would turn the full village of Kiri onto him. He threatened his own daimyo, said Naruto. Exactly, said Minato. Well, if you think about it, we are the ones that have the power, but they have the economy. But he's going a bit too far. So let me guess, the Water Daimyo wants the aid of Konoha to help the rebels. Minato nodded. And let me guess, before he didn't even consider lending them an ear. You know who those people are, said Minato. He only wants to help when he realizes that it is in his best issue. He realized if he don't do anything now, well, everything is gonna go to hell. Well then, said Naruto as he got to his feet, what better way than sending me back on the field to reintroduce me to the world? That I'm back on my feet, after all. I've been cleared by Inoichi. So what do you say, Minato? As Minato stared at Naruto. Fine, but under one condition. Time skip. As Naruto sighed. What's wrong, said Kushina. I mean, it's a shame, said Naruto. I will have to embarrass in front of his own little daughter and his wife, said Naruto. Kushina shook her head. You know that he's gotten stronger, right? And it's not like you always won in the past. So what makes you think that you will win now? Come on, Kushina-chan, said Naruto. I'm awesome. As she rolled her eyes, being a bit too overconfident is your thing. It would be real amusing if Minato was able to take you out within seconds. You remember the first time you fought, when you used the Harishin against you, right? Hey, that was a fluke, said Naruto. As Kushina laughed, as she patted him right in the back. Let's just hope the Limitless can back up his words. As Naruto's eye twitched as she walked off laughing. As Mito stood there. Mom, do you think that Dad's gonna win? She asks. Well, honey, your father is a very powerful individual, but Naruto is powerful as well. To be 100% honest, I don't know. The group was currently in the private training grounds of the Hokage. There was a large field that was protected by seals, so if someone was to practice jutsus or fight inside, it would not affect the outside arena. There were several individuals there. Sasuke, Sakura, Mito. Jiraiya was there. There was also Tsunade. Kakashi was there as well. Asuma, Kurenai stood there as well, along with Guy, as Guy had fire in his eyes. Sakura looked around as she saw there was no other kids here. Except for her, Sasuke and Mito. Well, her being a part of Team 7 gave her special privilege as she was able to tag along with them. As she couldn't believe what she was about to witness. The fight between the fourth Hokage himself against the man that they call the Limitless, as he has been her sensei in a way for the past week or so, because Kakashi sensei was too lazy. Meanwhile on the field, as Naruto looked around, Minato, did you really have to call so much people? As Minato was not in his coat, he was in his standard Jonin uniform. What? Are you gonna be too embarrassed? As he had this sly smile on his face, as Naruto tied his hair up in a ponytail. No, that's not it. I mean, you're the Hokage, man, come on. I don't want to embarrass you that badly. You've been gone for a long time, Naruto, said Minato. Things are not gonna be like before. As some other people arrive, as Inuichi came on the scene, along with Shikaku, and Tatsumi as well, followed by Choza. The clan heads were here. Surprisingly, even Hayashi arrived as well. As Minato had spoken to his council about the upcoming mission to Kiri, and that he will be sending Naruto. And all of them want to see what Naruto was truly capable of. After all, he has been gone for a long while now. What if his skills has rust? But they knew that was not the case after all. He did take down Orochimaru, although Minato was quite a fair bit stronger than Orochimaru. But still, as Naruto rolled his neck, only for Tsunade to spoke. 1,000 Ryu on Naruto, she said. As Jiraiya raised an eyebrow. So we're betting now, he said. Yes, we are, said Tsunade. Is there anyone that wants to take me up on my offer? I will match that. For the Hokage. The group was surprised, seeing that the person that spoke was none other than Hyuga. Well, alright then, said Tsunade. As a few others started to chime in. Place your bets. Huh? They're betting their money to lose on you, said Naruto. Well then, I guess I can't afford to make them lose their money, said Minato, as he rolled his neck, as Jiraiya stepped on the field. Well then, you two, said Jiraiya. It seems the both of you just want to strut your stuff all over the place. Remember not to go too overboard. The seals are designed to hold, practicing ninjutsu, but not that much. Don't worry, said Naruto. This match won't last that long. Damn right, said Minato, as Naruto laughed at that. Alright then. Begin, said Jiraiya as he jumped back. As he activated the seals, as a dome sprang around the area and covered the two, large enough for them to fight. Kushina decided to stay out of the bet, as she wasn't sure which one of them would win. Sasuke had his eyes dead set on Naruto, as he was the one that was going to help him find Itachi, as he wanted to see what he was truly, fully capable of. As Naruto picked up a pebble, as he tossed up in the air, as the thing started to fall, it was then that boatman moved. Being an kamikaze, Minato had natural speed just like Naruto. They arrived in the center as their fists collided. Did they teleport? Said Sakura. As both men kicked off each other, Minato tossed a kunai towards Naruto as Naruto tilted his head. Minato flashed behind him, his foot weaving through the air to slam on Naruto's shoulder, only for Naruto to spin and grab his feet and launch him. As Minato vanished as he reappeared distance away, he rushed towards Naruto as he tossed 3 kunais. The man then blinked out of existence as he reappeared to Naruto's side as Naruto turned. He flashed behind Naruto and flashed above him, then he flashed right in front of him, his fist caught back as he launched it, only for Naruto to tilt his head as the fist passed him. As Minato brought his other arm around as their arms clashed together, only for Minato to reappear next to Naruto's left, as he reached out to grab Naruto by the throat, but in a twist of skills, Naruto flipped his foot before he balanced on one hand and slammed his heel into Minato's guard. He staggered back a bit as Naruto vanished in a Shanshin. He reappeared behind the man and went through a series of hand signs. Minato flashed away a distance as Naruto took in a deep breath as he hurled a massive fireball towards him. Seeing this coming, Minato simply stood there as the fireball hit where he was. The group looked around as no one was standing there. As Naruto's eyes roamed all around before, his eyes looked down towards his hand. As he saw the seal, Minato flashed right in front of him. As Naruto twisted just in time. How is that possible? Said Mito. I mean, my dad marked him, right? As she looked towards her mother. Well, honey, Naruto is also fast as well. Incredible, said Sasuke. The fourth Hokage instantaneous movement was that instantaneous, but Naruto was able to dodge just in time. Both men's eyes connected as Minato watched as Naruto's hands start to move. Time seemed to slow down a bit as a Rasengan formed in both of their hands. They crashed the jutsu in together as an onslaught of energy replicated out, forcing both men to jump back as they landed on their feet. It seems he's gotten a lot faster, said Kurenai. That he has, said Kakashi, for once not in his book as he was watching the entire thing in front of him. As Naruto was able to see the exact moment of Minato teleporting right towards them, Naruto looked down toward his hand as he bit his finger and charged his blood with chakra before he carved a seal on the seal that Minato placed on him. The seal fizzled out as he canceled the one that Minato placed on him. As Naruto rolled his neck once again. Come on, you should know by now, said Naruto. You can't mark me forever. I know, said Minato. But that doesn't mean I can't mark the area. As the man then vanished, Naruto watched as he appeared beside men slam a Rasengan in the ground, causing the ground to upturn. As a vicious kick slammed into Naruto's stomach as he blocked his face from the dirt and debris. He was knocked back as Minato flashed behind him. As he marked the ground over to the side, he kicked Naruto straight up in the air before he leaped up past Naruto as he twisted his leg and dropped it in Naruto's stomach. Naruto was sent spiraling as he crashed into the ground. As Minato came falling with a knee, only for Naruto's eyes to snap open as Naruto caught onto the man's leg and yanked him forward, cutting off his speed entirely as Naruto smashed his skull into his own, causing the man to stagger back. As Naruto was still holding on to his leg, as Naruto started to twist him before Minato flashed out of his grasp. As Naruto was no longer where he was though, he was behind Minato. With a quick show of speed, he slammed his fist into his back as Minato stumbled forward before he regained his bearings as he ducked under a vicious roundhouse kick that nearly slammed into the side of his head. He reached out to grab Naruto by the shirt until electricity coursed off Naruto's body as he came around him like an armor. As Naruto flipped before he landed the moment his feet touched the ground, he was gone. As Mito started to see sparks all over the arena. What's going on? She asked. He's trying to outpace your father, said Kushina, as she saw everyone's head turned and moving towards the sparks. But I can't see him. Sasuke activated Sharingan. His eyes was not fast enough to keep up. Just how fast was he? But Minato was not one to be outdone as he called out. Crossing Flash, Super Circle, 10 Tower, Stage 3. Minato vanished as all they saw was yellow lightning. Yellow and blue lightning viciously clashed against each other. Mito was confused as Sakura voiced her opinions. What's going on? They're not there anymore. Actually, they are, said Inoichi, as he spoke to the child. But they're just moving a bit faster than you can see right now. As Inoichi looked back up, all he could see was electricity. Minato was not known as the fastest man in the world right now for anything. Yet, Naruto was seeming to be keeping up after all. The blue electricity was still there as well. As both men were moving at tremendous speed, their Namikaze bloodline to be exact, the speed that they can fight on was just incredible. It was then that the two men separated. Everyone saw Minato had blood running down his fingers as it was a slash across his shoulder. As Naruto was directly behind him. As the people were surprised at that as both men were back to back. As Minato was not the only one wounded though, as it was a slash right at Naruto's cheek. Come on man, said Naruto. You know you should not touch the moneymaker. As he wiped the blood away, as his cheek started to heal instantly. So, do you want us to kick it up a notch? Kick it up a notch? Said Sasuke. His eyes could barely keep up with what they were doing earlier. So this was the power of Kage level shinobis. Well, it seems that the both of them has gotten faster, said Shikaku. As he looked at the boatman, they were already fast enough already, but now, their speed, despite Naruto being dead for 12 years, it seems like he was not lacking in the training department after all. He was still able to keep up with Minato. And, not to mention, They weren't even at their full power yet. No, I think I've seen enough, said Minato. After all, this was just a test to see if you still had what it takes. And how did I do? There is no question in it. You're still on top of your game, Minato said. Well, maybe next time we should have a real fight, said Naruto, and see who come out on top. Yeah, maybe another time, said Minato. So who won? asked Chizune, as there was a small blush in her face. She couldn't help it. She knew that Minato was already taken. She's known Naruto for a long time now. And somehow he's just gotten more and more handsome. As she couldn't take it, she always got a bit flustered around him. Maybe it was his eyes, the way he looked at you, with that stare. It was just so intense. It was hard to look away from. Of course Naruto won, said Tsunade. And how do you presume that? Said Hayashi. Well, look at Minato's shoulder. He got slashed there. And look at Naruto. He healed, said Hayashi. But still, a small cut versus a larger one like that. I think we should count the more blood. Well, you don't have to take my word for it. As she saw them coming. So who won? This wasn't really a test to see who won, said Minato. I was just testing to see what Naruto is capable of now. Against myself. Yes, and who won? asked Tsunade. Isn't it obvious, said Naruto. I kicked his ass so bad, he gave up instantly. What? That's not the reason I called it off. Yeah, keep telling yourself that. But everyone here can see that he was the one that called the match because he was too afraid to keep on going with me. As Minato was about to say something, but Naruto cut him off. So I won, he said. Now, how about you buy your champion some booze? As he looked towards Tsunade. As you all can hear, Naruto won, said Tsunade. Now come on, my champion. Let's go and drink. As everyone's sweat dropped. That's not how it went. It's okay, honey, said Kushina, as she patted him on the shoulder. But he didn't win, said Minato. I know, she said. It's alright, Dad. You get him next time, said Mito. But why are you babying me? He didn't win. We know. It's okay, Dad. It's alright, honey, said Kushina. But I didn't lose. But the group was already separated. But I didn't lose, said Minato, as Jerry placed a hand on his shoulder. You'll get him next time, champ. You too? Now let's get that wound of yours bandaged up. Next time you'll definitely come out on top. As Minato's eyes started to twitch. As Kushina was stifling her laughter, so she wouldn't burst out laughing. Time skip. You know you standing there worrying. It's not gonna change anything, right? Said Naruto. I'm gonna be fine. As Naruto was currently in his house. As Mito had a compound in Konoha before she passed. And Naruto and Kushina had taken it over. There was a few houses. Anytime Uzumakis came by to visit Mito, they always stay in the houses. Minato and Kushina live in the main house in the compound. As Naruto lived in one of the branch houses. It was a 2-bedroom house. Nothing too fancy, but all of his old stuff was in there. All of his clothes from 12 years old that he had to get rid of, seeing that he has grown quite a bit. And get some new clothing, but all of his weapons, all of his arts, all of his ceiling was there, which was still usable to this day. As Kushina had made sure that the place was kept in good condition, it was a way for her to grieve as she cleaned it and make sure that it was still kept up, even though she knew that he would never come back. But it seems that was not the case. At the moment though, Naruto was getting ready to embark on his first mission after coming back. As letters has already been sent to the rebel forces, and with the pressure that they were under, they were delighted to get help. As Naruto was dressed in a black cloak. It was a cloak that was similar to Minato's, but it had Limitless, the kanji for Limitless on the back, and there was a swirl of blue flames on the bottom. Underneath that he was wearing a grey shirt, long sleeve. As it had several markings on it. They seemed to be dulled out in color, but it was actually storage markings, and the cloak was filled with storage after all. He had no weapon on him, everything was sealed away. He had on black pants, and sandals, black ones. When he closed the cloak, you could not see his hand, and you could not see inside the cloak because of a seal that was placed up. The only thing that you saw was pure darkness. Naruto walked over to Kushina as he placed both hands inside her head before he kissed her on top of the head. I'm gonna be just fine, he told her. She hugged him. Be careful, she said. Come on. You know me, said Naruto. Yes, I do. Sometimes you get a bit too cocky for your own good. So be careful, you idiot, she said. As Naruto simply smiled. I'll be just fine. You don't have to worry about me, he said. As both of them started to walk, they arrived to see Mito. As she was looking down and looking all around, looking a bit nervous. Is my sweet little niece worried about me, said Naruto. As she looked towards him, an embarrassed blush on her face. She took a breath before she moved forward and hugged him. As Naruto kneeled and hugged her back. Be careful, uncle, she said. You guys know this is not my first mission, right? Yeah, but it is your first coming back, she told him. And we're worried. Well, you don't have to. I promise you I'll be just fine, he said to her. Now you just keep on training. I expect by the time I return, you should get that leaf exercise finished. Can I count on you to do that? As she nodded. I can do that, she said. Alright then, said Naruto. As he saw Sasuke as he patted him on the head. You keep working on that fire exercise. If you get that done by the time I return, I'll teach you an awesome, lightning-based ninjutsu. One that you've never seen before. But you said that you wouldn't embark in the ninjutsu era of lightning until I fully mastered technique. That is why it's a reward, said Naruto. If you get it done by the time I return, you will have your prize. Sasuke nodded. It shall be done, he said. As Naruto got up with a smile. Well then, I'll see you guys, he said. Be careful, said Kushina. Yeah, be careful, uncle, said Mito. I will. You guys take care of yourself, he said as he walked out. As he arrived outside to see the small team, there was only 2 more members. One of them being Kakashi. The group already had a heavy hitter, so they need someone with a calculated mind after all. They had to do this fast before Yagra fully realized that he was being attacked by Konoha ninjas as well, before he even think to turn his sights on Konoha. The other one was Shizune. Every team needed a medic. Other than Tsunade, Shizune was the best medic in the village, and it was a good deal for her to be tagging along. Not to mention there must be a few, more than a few, injured on the rebel team that need medical assistance. So Shizune coming along is something good. As Naruto walked over and placed a hand on both of their shoulders. You guys ready, he said. As ready as I'll ever be, said Kakashi. As Naruto turned towards Shizune. As she nodded, a small red tint on her face. Alright then, said Naruto. Time skip, as the group had already moved out, making their way towards Kirin. Shizune wasn't as fast as the 2 of them, and Naruto being a lot faster than Kakashi, but they were keeping her pace as they moved through the trees. Weird question, especially at this time, said Naruto. Do you guys know who's in charge of the rebel group? Wait, you don't know, said Kakashi. No, do you? Didn't you ask? Shizune asked. Well, it never really came up. We were given the location and told that we would be brought to where the rebel base is. They never said who would come back for us. So do you guys have any idea? Asked Naruto. The both of them shook their heads. Well then, I guess it's gonna be a surprise. You've been to Kiri a few times, right? Said Kakashi. Yep, said Naruto. Do you have any idea who it might be? Well, it must be someone that possesses a bloodline, after all. This is a trigger for them. I still have no reason why Yagra decided to attack his own people, killing off so much, after all. Most of Kiri population possess a bloodline. Even through Konoha, Kiri has the most clans through the entire elemental nation. Did you have any interaction with Yagra in the war? After all, we weren't against Kiri, said Kakashi. That's the thing, said Naruto. He was peaceful. He wanted to stay out of the war. So I'm not sure how he just switched like this and started to kill off all of his bloodline users. I even met a few Kiri ninjas in the past. More than a few, said Naruto. So I'm curious to see who was in charge of this rebel forces. Not to underestimate your skills or anything, says Shizune. But why just us, she asks. Well, Shizune, you're a wonderful medic. And I'm sure that the rebels will be very happy to know that we brought such a powerful medic with us. And Kakashi, he thinks smart on his feet. And we're not looking for a heavy hitter, because I already feel that role. Besides, it seems like the rebels have already pushed Yagura back. They just don't have the power to overwhelm him to stop this. But once he's defeated, the others will easily surrender. After all, the war has been going on for a very long time now. I'm sure that the citizens and the people are all just tired. But Yagura will not allow it to end. So will be the deciding factor, said Kakashi. Exactly, said Naruto. As the group continued to move, Kira was a distance away, so they would not just go there right away, as they had to stop for the night. There was no village or hotels around, so they decided to camp out. They had their stuff as Shizune was sleeping in a tent, as Naruto was currently in a tree watching, as Kakashi was sitting on the branch. You know, I said I would take first watch, you should be asleep. Not feeling that tired yet, said Kakashi. But, you know the Onvu technique? Yes, I do, said Naruto. But that's not good for you. To always do. You actually need your full hours. There was a technique in Onvu that allow a user to get a quick rest. Use in small minutes, but it actually rejuvenates your body, but it was not good for you in the long run. But most Onvus use it so that they could keep active. Well, I haven't used it in a while, said Kakashi. After all, I've been with Team 7. You always have to be alert when you're carrying, and making sure their Genin team is okay. As Naruto looked off into the darkness, I am curious about something, said Kakashi. I don't feel your chakra. You don't, said Naruto. Yeah, I'm confused about that. Even in the past, your chakra was so overwhelming that it was bothering sometimes, when you do not suppress it by accident. There's a reason why they call you limitless after all. Yeah, that was becoming too concerning, said Naruto. Even though through the entire clan of the Uzumakis Naruto was born, with surprisingly the most chakra out of all Uzumakis. As Naruto raised his hand, he went through a single hand sign and Kakashi saw a lot of small seals appear in his hands, both of them. Are those suppression seals? Yeah, said Naruto. To keep it on the down low. I can't go alerting everyone around here. Even if I suppress it, as best as I could, a good sensor will still be able to pick it up. And I'm sure that there are a lot of good sensors amongst the loyalists. Kakashi was always amazed when he was reminded how much power that Naruto had. It never ceased to amaze him each time, as he looked at the patterns on Naruto's hands. Time skip. The group moved once again as they made their way. It took them some time, but they finally arrived at the rendezvous point. As they were close, the place was filled with mist, as you could barely see 10 feet ahead of you. It was extra thick, given that Yagura didn't want anyone to enter his village right now. They had made sure that the mist around the place was thick enough to ward off invading enemies, until he got rid of all the rebellion forces. They were standing there, as Shizune looked around. Someone's coming, said Naruto. As he looked ahead, as someone emerged from the mist, it was a man. As he had an eye patch over his eye, blue hair that went straight up, with a mist headband on his forehead. As Naruto blinked, Ayo. So it is indeed true, said Ayo. You're actually alive. Yes, said Naruto. I'm surprised. You're our rendezvous partner. As Ayo nodded. You know him, Shizune whispered. Yeah. From a long time ago, said Naruto. Well, we can't afford to stay out here for too longer. Come with me, said Ayo, as the group made their way behind him. So, Ayo, how have you been? Well, not too good, after all. We've been in a civil war for the longest time now. Yeah, that's right, said Naruto. But you seem to be fine, considering that you've been dead for the past 12 years. You and I both know that death is just an illusion that one can sometimes control, said Naruto. So, are you some master of death right now? Asked Ayo. I never claimed to be, said Naruto. I'm just telling you what I suspect. Never giving a straight answer. That is just like you. We were surprised when we heard that you were the one that was being sent from Konoha. Well, you want the best, don't you? Said Naruto. Ayo did not comment on that. As he went through hand sign, he slammed his hand on the ground as the passageway opened up. As they went underneath, as it closed up behind them, as the group continued to make their way. As Naruto felt, the moment he passed through the barrier, he felt the chakra signatures off all the rebels around him. As Kakashi looked around as he turned towards the wall and he saw the seals. Come, said Ayo. I'm taking you to the leader. Yes, the leader, said Naruto. As he looked around, several rebel ninjas turned their head immediately as they saw him. Whispers immediately broke out. Hey, it's actually him. There's no mistaking it. Blonde, with red tips. It's the Limitless. But how is he alive? This makes no sense. Well, perhaps we'll find out. But still, with him on our side, he's the force, the strength that we need to end this. Yeah, I suppose you're right. But Konoha actually sent him. I mean, isn't he one of their top heavy hitters? It seems you're being generous. As Naruto looked around, as he saw all the people, all the rebels, as she only saw a few of them in bandages, it seems that they indeed need a medic. As Ayo brought Naruto and the group towards a tent, it was much larger than the others. As Ayo opened it, as the group stepped inside, there was a chair but the back was turned to them. I must say, when I heard that you have risen from the dead, I was shocked. And after 12 years, but knowing you, always full of surprises, I guess I should not be too surprised. Kakashi raised his eyebrow as he saw reddish hair. She was talking to Naruto, whoever she was. So she was the leader of the rebellion forces. As Naruto blinked, hey, I know that voice, he said. Yes, you should. I would be quite disappointed if you did not remember me. As she slowly turned in her chair. Me? Me, Terumi, said Naruto. Even after 12 years of your so-called death, you still remember me. I guess I should be honored. She said with a smile, a rather sweet smile. As Kakashi glanced towards Naruto. You know her. Yeah, said Naruto. As I said, I was friends with a few Kirin ninjas. And she's one of them, said Naruto. Kakashi narrowed his eyes, as he knew that Naruto used to be quite the player before. He settled down with Kurenai, so there was a chance that he had been with this woman in a more romantic sense. So Naruto said me, her sweet smile on her face. Would you mind explaining why you've been gone for the past 12 years? I mean, people don't just randomly wake up from death. Well, that's kind of a long story. Well, we have some time, she said. After all, you're here to help. And this time, it's not like you're just gonna run away. Hey, I didn't run away, said Naruto. Oh, you did not, she said. What's going on? She's only whispered to Kakashi. Well, as you can see, they know each other, but in a rather personal sense. Oh, we do, said Mei, hearing what he said. We know each other quite well, don't we, Naruto-kun, said. As Naruto's sweat dropped. Of all the persons that it could have been, why? Call me why, Mei Terumi. But guys, be in subscribe right here. If you want to see the next person, do like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notification as we posted. But I'm over now, see you guys soon. Peace.